What's up guys, Max here, and we're back from the initial launch of the Predator in Mortal Kombat X, the latest DLC, and my most anticipated single fighting game character, probably of all time. Now, I've had a little bit of time with the variations. We saw the combat cast, and he was a little late, so we didn't get a chance to get as in-depth as I wanted, but I have had experience with all three different variations of the Predator, the Plasma Caster, the Hunter variation, and the Warrior. So let's talk about all three quickly in a breakdown, and kind of explain which one I think is the best and which one I think is the worst. I'm going to start off with the one that I think is the weakest of the three, which is the Warrior variation. Admittedly, this one is absolutely the coolest looking because he's maskless, the face is brilliantly captured. They did an amazing job with the Predator's animations in his face and everything like that. I didn't think they were going to go that far, but they did, and it's really damn good that they did. But the problem is that Warrior right now, in terms of what he can do compared to the Hunter and the Plasma Caster variation, is kind of hard. He does have this move, this big lunging, leaping attack that you can actually do in the air as well. And the aerial version is fairly safe, the light one is fairly safe, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to utilize this in a combo because you don't have any really good overheads outside of that standing 3-2 overhead, I believe it is. He really does retain a lot of the same combos that all the variations do, and that's one thing that's actually very good with the Predator, is that you get the blade disc, you get all these really cool normals with the spear, and a lot of his tools are universal. They're good between all the versions of the Predator, which is absolutely fantastic. So the majority of combos you're going to be doing with Predator, like jumping up after a neutral jump punch, jump up, kick him, throw the disc, and then follow in for a combo, and then you stab him with your ender. All that stuff is going to remain the same. The big kicker with Warrior, though, and what makes it kind of special, honestly, is the Detonation. He has this backhand special move as well, which I really can't find any use for. I have no idea how to make it decent or good in any way. But if you're able to set up the Detonation, it's very, very interesting. The whole point is that you're supposed to activate Detonation, get in on your opponent, either land a hit or land a grab, and as the animation's going through of the grab, your character's going to explode, they're going to go flying in the air, and you can essentially do like a delayed neutral jump too, and then smack them back down to the ground, continue your combo. You get a lot of damage at the beginning of this thing too, so it's at least it's some of the most damaging combos that Predator has, especially for one bar, but it is kind of gimmicky. That's the biggest problem about it, is that to actually activate the self-destruct, it takes so long. It takes like almost 2 seconds, I swear, and you can get punished from nearly full screen. You have to hard knock down your opponent. There's a couple of good buttons if you're able to juggle somebody and do forward 4. If you're able to do, I think it's 1-2-2 on the ground and cancel it into bomb, you'll be fine. The biggest problem is that you have to push your opponent nearly full screen away and then activate and then run in and get a grab, so like I said, it's kind of gimmicky. Other than that, the second one I actually played the most, and I think is the second best of all the variations, is the Darkmass version, which is Hunter. And Hunter gets access to the traps, and the traps can either explode, or they fling the opponent up into the air. It's actually very freaking cool looking. And there are some insanely lethal things with this variation. This is the big difference, is that you don't have the lunging punch, you don't have the backhand, you don't have the self-destruct. Instead, you get traps that you can set close, medium, or far. And the great thing about this one is that when you actually have your trap out and the EX version's on the ground, that thing blows up immediately, and I believe is very positive on block. You can't get a lot of block damage if you want to use like all 3 traps for a very, very big block string, but it does allow you to get an immediate mix-up after. Go for like a mid to overhead, go for a low into something like that is one of the best things you can possibly do with this trap. It's also really good just to go into a string and then throw a trap low. That's actually not bad at all, but at the same time, throwing out these traps kind of just randomly and throwing out your back forward 2 blade disc, all these things have a lot of recovery and even a lot of startup, and even if you throw out a regular trap, it's going to take a while for the trap to activate, so it takes quite a few frames for things to even happen. You kind of have to scare your opponent, but like I said, the best part of this variation is that you can corner carry your opponent very well with the Predator. You can almost get him from full screen or mid screen to the complete right or left side of the screen with a basic combo. And at that time, you're in the corner, and you have exactly what you want, which is traps in the corner, and it becomes extremely deadly. Your opponent has to block from low to high and make all these guesses fast because they stop wake-up attacks. It's very good. And I think this might actually be my favorite variation just because of how the traps are and managing them and throwing your opponent into traps. It actually reminds me a lot of Conra from Killer Instinct. And finally, the best variation, I think it's Shuku 10. This is the one that has the plasma caster, the giant, like, shoulder cannon. This is easily the best one because Predator gets access to very good zoning, close, medium, far, or even anti-air zoning. And they do pretty decent damage. They actually build very good meter. But what they're good for is not even zoning. They're even better for close range proximity. And what I mean is that Predator can go from his mid to overhead chain, his low to mid chain. Any of these attacks you can end with the close version of the plasma caster. So you go from like low, mid, low, you can go from mid, overhead, low. Anything like that is really good, and it makes her a fantastic mix-up if it goes from low to high or high to low really fast. And I think that's why this variation is easily the best one, is that his close range pressure just becomes absolutely amazing. When you have the other versions, you don't get that at all. You can't make your strings safe, really, within the Warrior variation. Unless you want to do that big pounce thing, and that's extremely slow. Within the Hunter variation, if you throw out a trap, you can easily get punished or thrown with a regular trap. You have to use a meter burn version of a trap to make it good. And yeah, man, this Plasma Caster variation is definitely the best one. I don't find it as fun as the traps because I really do enjoy playing the trap version, but one thing that you just got to do against Predator is that there is a lot of gaps in his game plan. Use a bar, get out of there with an armored move, and you'll start to understand how to fight against this guy. He does seem really good right off the bat, but at the same time, he is a lumbering character. He does a lot of damage, but he is a big guy. He kind of moves very similar to Kotal Khan, and does kind of similar damage to Kotal Khan, which I find kind of funny at the same time. But I've been having a blast. The Week of Predator is going to be coming up very soon, guys. Thank you all for watching. What do you think of the 3 different variations of the Predator, and which one have you been using the most? My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.